Welcome to my channel, Overworld. How many opportunities do you think of missed simply because you didn't know how to interpret a woman's signals? This isn't a guess, it's a studied fact. Body language never lies, but if you don't know how to read it, you might be missing key moments that will never come back as a mature, experienced man. It's natural for many women to feel drawn toward you, but here's the thing, they're not going to be direct. Not because they didn't want to be, but because that has never been their role. A woman knows how to mark your interests subtly with movements and attitudes that seem casual but are full of intention. Now what happens if you're asleep? If you don't understand what she's saying without words, the result is simple. You miss out on a connection that could have changed your life. But don't worry, because today we're going to fix that. I'm going to reveal 9 signals based in female psychology and body language that show when a woman is interested in you. And no, these aren't the obvious signals you've heard 1,000 times before. These are the ones that truly make a difference and will help you recognize when someone is into you, even if she doesn't say it outright. My name is Celia, and here we talk about those subtle details that most people overlook but that change everything. If it's your first time here, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay until the end because these signals might open your eyes and the way you understand relate. Let's get started. Body always speaks even when we try to hide what we feel. One of the most honest signs of interest is in the feet. Unlike hands or the face, we don't usually pay conscious attention to them. If you're in a conversation with her, and her feet are pointed directly at you, that's a subtle yet powerful signal that the focus is on you, not just physically but emotionally too. Think about it. If someone isn't interested or doesn't feel comfortable, their feet tend to turn toward the exit in any other direction that suggests distinction. But when her feet are aligned with you, it's because her body is subconsciously reflecting her, even if she's not aware of it. Imagine you're in a meeting or a public, and while you're talking her feet remain still facing toward you, even if she turns her head or gestures with her hands. This happens because her body language is seeking connection with you. This doesn't mean you should start staring at the feet of every woman you talk to, but if you notice the signal along with other positive behaviors, you can be fairly confident that she's interested. So what should you do if you pick up on this? Use that moment to deepen the conversation to create a more meaningful connection. You don't need to mention it or act friendly. Just understand that her body language is opening a door for you. And speaking of signals that don't tally on words, let's move on to the next tone. Sometimes the key isn't in her feet, but in what she does with her hands, almost as an unconscious reflex. Let's talk about that. Now, hands are a direct reflection of what's happening in the mind. When a woman is interested, her nervousness or excitement might reveal itself through subtle gestures, playing with her accessories, twisting a ring, touching a neck, adjusting her watch, or even smoothing out the hem of her clothing. These movements aren't always conscious, but serve as a way to release the energy stirred by the emotion she feels around you. Imagine you're talking to her and suddenly you notice she starts fiddling with her necklace, turning it between her fingers. As she listens to you, she's not focused on the necklace itself, rather, you've caught her attention, and that energy is finding a way to express itself. These gestures are often repetitive and delicate, as if she is trying to keep herself occupied to calm her emotions. What's fascinating is that this behavior isn't random. Psychology tells us that people tend to engage in these kinds of gestures when they are around someone they're either as an unconscious form of self-soothing, or a subtle way of drawing your attention. If you notice this, pay attention to how it aligns with her other. The body language. Is she maintaining eye contact? Does her tone of voice sound warm and engaging? These complementary signals can confirm their interest is directed at you. How should you respond? The key is not to rush. Keep the conversation flowing naturally, but use the opportunity to ask her questions that build a more personal connection. Give her the spacito, feel comfortable, and if these gestures persist, it's a strong sign she enjoys being around you. Now, let's move, because if her hands can reveal her interest, her posture can make it even more obvious, especially when she adjusts her natural stance to project her best self in your presence. Let's talk about that next. The body naturally seeks to impress when it catches our interest. And one of the clearest signs of attraction is how a woman adjusts her posture around you. If she's usually relaxed or casual in her stance, but straightens her back, lifts her chin slightly, or even adjusts her clothing when she sees you, it's her body speaking before she does think about it. You walk into a room and see her sitting comfortably. Then, as soon as she notices you, her posture subtly changes. She might fix her hair, cross her legs more elegant, or shift into a or highlights her best features. These movements aren't just acts of vanity. They're an unconscious way of projecting her best self to capture your attention. This shift isn't random. Psychology tells us that the body reacts instinctively when we're near someone we're attracted to. It's a natural way of wanting to leave a positive impression, of showing interest without needing to say a word. If you notice this behavior, pay attention to how it evolves as you talk. Does she maintain that posture? Does she adjust her clothing or touch her hair more often than usual? These subtle gestures are her way of telling you that her presence matters to her. What should you do if you pick up on? Respond with your own body language. Show your interests subtly. Maintain an open posture. Smile genuinely and make her feel that you've noticed her too. That combination of visual and physical connection will help her feel comfortable and encourage her to keep expressing her interest. And speaking of expressions, let's move on to something even more revealing. Her smile. When a woman is interested, her smile often shows up at the most unexpected moments, even before you say something funny. Let's explore what this means in the next point. A woman's smile is a powerful gesture. But there's one kind of smile that says it, or that one that appears for no apparent reason before you've made a joke or said anything particularly funny. It's the most natural way of showing that being around you brings her joy and comfort even without a clear explanation. Imagine you're talking about something ordinary, nothing remarkable, and you notice her smiling. As she looks at you, it's as if simply being with you eyes out to light up her face. The espionage smile, unprompted by the situation, is a clear signal that she's into you. This happens because in female psychology, attraction tends to manifest in the face in the most genuine ways. It's not a calculated smile, it's a natural reaction to how she feels around you. In fact, often she might not even realize she's doing it. If you notice this, don't overlook it. It's a silent invitation to keep connecting, to maintain the conversation, and to build in the spark that's already there. How should you respond? Return it with a sincere, warm smile. That shared moment of visual and emotional connection reinforces mutual interest and lets her know her gesture didn't go unnoticed. But smiles aren't the only way to tell if she's interested. Sometimes the most revealing gestures are in how she subtly seeks to be closer to you, even in imperceptible ways. In the next point, we'll explore how her body works to close the distance between you without seeming intentional. Let's keep going. If you're enjoying this video so far and starting to notice that subtle signals that may have slipped past you before, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button to support this content. Stay with me until the end because the most surprising and revealing signals are yet to come for those who truly want to learn how to interpret what a woman's body language is trying to say. I have a final reflection that could completely change the way you understand these interactions. And tell me, which country are you listening from? I'd love to know. Let's continue. A woman's interest isn't always expressed in words but through movements that seem casual, yet have a clear purpose to be closer to you. If you notice that without any obvious reason, she adjusts your position to get nearer or takes every chance to close the distance, you're witnessing a powerful sign of attraction. For example, you're talking in a group and, without you realizing it right away, she shifts slightly toward your side. Or maybe you're sitting at a table and she positions her arm or body to align more closely with yours. It's not abrupt or overly obvious. It's a natural moment driven by her body's desire to connect with you. This behavior has a psychological basis. When we're drawn to someone, our instinct is to want to be closer, to share the same personal space. It's a way of feeling connected without crossing the physical boundary yet, but still making her interest clear. How can you confirm if this is a real signal? Pay attention to whether she does this only with you. If you notice she doesn't display the same closeness with others, it's a strong indicator that her focus is on you. What should you do if you pick up on this? Don't pull away or act uncomfortable. Let the closeness remain. Respond with a relaxed and open. And if you feel confident, mirror her gesture with a small movement or W her. This not only strengthens the connection, but also signals that you're open to her interest on. Now, let's move forward. When a woman's interest is genuine, it's not just in her physical proximity, but also in how she mirrors your gestures, as if the two of you are perfectly in sync. Let's explore that connection in the next point. When a woman is interested, her body language starts tossing with yours, almost as if you're both engaged in an unplanned dance. This is known as unconscious mirroring or the mirror effect, and it's one of the most fascinating signs of attraction without even realizing it. She begins to mimic your movements, as posture, or even your tone of voice as her body instinctively seeks to connect with you. Picture this: you cross your arms while talking, and a few seconds later you notice she does the same, or maybe you take a sip of your drink and suddenly she does too. Even though her glass had been sitting untouched, these subtle gestures aren't coincidences. They're a reflection of her mind being in sync with yours, and a sign that she feels comfortable in your presence. Psychology teaches us that mirroring is a way to build connection and communicate interest. It's as if her body is saying, "I'm with you, I understand you, I'm interested in what you're doing." This phenomenon happens unconsciously, making it a genuine and hard to fake signal. If you notice her mirroring, you use it as an opportunity to deepen the connection, keep the conversation flowing, and observe how her gestures continue to align with yours. But don't make it too obvious. You don't need to point it out or abruptly change your movements to test it. Simply enjoy the moment and let the natural synchrony work its magic. And speaking of synchrony, there's something else that shifts when a woman is interested: her tone of voice. It's subtle but incredibly telling, and we'll explore it in the next point. Let's continue. When a woman is interested in Mia, her tone of voice transforms in ways that are almost imperceptible but deeply meaningful. It may become softer, warmer, or even slower when she speaks to you. This change isn't something she consciously does. It's a reflection of how she feels in your presence and her desire to create a more personal connection with you. Imagine you're in a group setting and while speaking to others, her tone remains neutral and direct. But when she addresses you, her voice takes on a different quality, as if she wants to make the moment more intimate, even in a crowded room. It's a small detail, but it carries a lot of weight. Psychology explains that this happens because emotions directly influence the way we communicate. When a woman is interested, her body and mind work to convey closeness, and her tone of voice is one of the subtle tools she uses to do so. If you notice her tone shifts when she speaks to you, take it as an invitation to deepen the conversation. Respond in a calm and attentive manner, matching her warmth in your own tone. This helps create an atmosphere of mutual trust and strengthens the spark that's already there. But it's not just about how she speaks to you. It's also about what she chooses to share. When a woman is interested, she begins to reveal more personal details, building on each bond. In the next point, we'll explore how these confessions can be a clear sign that she likes you. Let's continue. When a woman is interested in Sbian, she tends to share something deeper than the surface-level conversations. It might be a personal detail, a profound thought, or a story. She wouldn't typically share in casual. This isn't something she does with just, and if she shares it with you, it's because she's looking to create a closer and more meaningful connection. Imagine you're having a relaxed conversation and suddenly she'll say something like, "Hardly anyone knows this, but I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano," or "This place reminds me of a difficult time in my life." These moments don't just happen by chance. They're a sign that she trusts you and wants to open a small window into her world. Female psychology tells us that sharing personal information is a way to build emotional intimacy. When a woman speaks about something she usually keeps to herself, it's because she wants you to see beyond the obvious and connect with her on a deeper level. How can you make the most of this? Listen carefully. Ask questions that show genuine interest and keep the conversation flowing naturally. If she feels that you respect and value what she's sharing, her trust will grow, strengthening the bond between you. Here's something else you should. If she finds reasons to extend the time she spends with you, even when it's time to part ways, it's another clear sign that she enjoys your company more than she's willing to admit. Let's explore this final signal in the next point. Let's continue. When a woman likes you, goodbyes become more than just a simple "see you later." Even in the shortest encounters, she'll find ways to extend the conversation, add an extra comment, or ask a question that keeps the moment going a little. Imagine you're wrapping up a conversation and just as it seems to part ways, she says something like, "Oh, by the way, what do you think of other before you go? I have to tell you some." I think she's not doing this because she suddenly remembered something urgent. Is her way of making sure the moment doesn't end too quickly. This happens because in female psychology, the desire to prolong an interaction is a clear sign of interest. When a woman enjoys being with you, any goodbye feels too soon, and she looks for small excuses to stay in your company just a bit longer. If you notice this, don't rush the goodbye. Respond naturally and use the opportunity to deepen the connection. And these moments are perfect for building closeness because they show that both of you are taking the time together. Here's something key to remember. Actions always speak louder than words. If she finds ways to linger, even in small interactions, it's because there's something about you that makes her want to stay. With these 9 signals, you now have a clear guide to understand what a woman might be telling you through her body language and actions, even if she doesn't say it outright. Because, in the end, women rarely express their interest with obvious words. Instead, they communicate with gestures meant for those who know how to read them. If you've noticed some of these signals in someone special, pay attention. You might be standing in front of an opportunity you hadn't seen before. And remember, the most important thing is to respond with confidence and authenticity. That's what truly creates a genuine connection. My name is Celia and I want this space to be a refuge where we can discuss deep and eye-opening topics with respect and wisdom. Here we go beyond the obvious, exploring the gestures, words, and subtle details that often go unnoticed, but have the power to transform the way we experience our relationships. Let's discover how to better understand others and improve with our lives, not just emotionally but in every aspect. Because in the end, every small act of awareness and every moment spent reflecting on our connections brings us closer to a more authentic and fulfilling life. If this is your first time on the channel, I invite you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. What's coming is packed with insights that will surprise you and help you interpret the nuances of female psychology that you might have. Until now, if you've made it this far, congratulations. This means you're committed to your personal growth and to understanding. It's better to see who's truly connected with this message. Until then, comment the phrase, "I love wisdom," and let me know where you're listening from. I'd love to hear from those who are sharing this journey of discovery with me. See you in the next video where we'll continue exploring the keys to relationships and emotional well-being.